So I am preparing for a trip to Moab, Utah. I leave in 2 days, going to Canyonlands and Arches National Park. So I'm super excited for that. I've never been to either location before. I'm going for the annual out of Chicago. That's the company that puts on this landscape photography conference. That's where they're having it this year. You might remember last year I went to it. It was in Acadia National Park in Maine. So this is something I look forward to every year. It's a fantastic opportunity to, hang out with 100 like-minded folks and some of the best photographers in the entire world. Thomas Heaton's always there, Aaron Bobnick, Joshua Cripps, Nick Page. The list goes on and on and on. So anywho, very excited for that. That is coming up this week, and I leave in just a couple of days for that, like I already mentioned that. But I was always kind of going through my preparation process, and I do this for every single specific photo location that I go on when I go to on any type of landscape photography shoot. And the process is pretty straightforward. I narrowed it down to 4 simple steps, and I don't think that I spend probably more than 15 or 20 minutes doing this with any one specific location. It's pretty straightforward. But I found that when I first got into landscape photography, I never really prepared a lot for any of these types of trips. I just kind of went on them and just figured it out when I got there. And, as we all know, that the light can be a very fleeting thing. And when the sun is rising or the sun is setting, that the time allotted when the moment is right is very fleeting. So being as prepared as possible, not having to rush around, is definitely going to be beneficial. I know I don't operate well like that at all. If I feel underprepared or start rushing around, I start to feel anxious, and I just that's not when I'm at my best, is when I feel like that. So I try and prepare as much as possible, just to in order to, I would say, increase the likelihood of success on a particular shoot. I guess that's a good way to put it. But just to jump right in here, the very first thing I always do is I go over to 500px, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically like an Instagram. And what 500px enables you to do is just type in any location anywhere in the world, and you'll just see hundreds of images that people have taken of that actual location. So let me pull this up here. Let's type in a delicate arch. Now, if you're not familiar with what delicate arch is, I'm sure you probably will be when you see the photos. This is probably the most iconic location in all of Moab. And I've never been there, of course, like I mentioned again, but I'm very excited to see this in person. But ultimately what I'm getting at by going to 500px is I want to see, A, is the location even photogenic? Obviously I already know it is. And B, I want to see what other photographers are capturing. What's the composition that they're using? A lot of times with iconic locations like this, there's an iconic composition as well. And if you want to go after that, there's nothing wrong with that. I like to do it too, and I make that my very first shot, to just kind of get that in the bag and then move over and do something a little bit different, something that's possibly unique to me. And 500px is a great way to help you to identify, what's been done before. Like this image right here, that looks pretty cool with the moon right there. That's an interesting twist to it. And just kind of scroll through here. I spend maybe like 5 or 10 minutes just looking around, just to kind of get a better idea of the surroundings and see what other folks are doing as well. I'm going to be there on a Saturday night, or on Monday, to this actual location at night. It's going to be during the new moon cycle, so the darkness is going to be insanely dark, which is going to be great for a Milky Way shot. So, this image that you can see right here gives me a good idea of what I could possibly expect from that. So that's nice. Ooh, and then this right here, I love this long exposure. This is obviously shot with some type of an ND filter here, but it gives me an idea of what I could expect. I do like the movement in the clouds with the rock solid nature of delicate arch. That's kind of a cool combination. But ultimately, it helps me to better visualize what I can expect when my feet are actually on the ground there. And it also kind of gives me compositional ideas to determine, is there an iconic composition I want to go after? Is there a composition that's been done a gajillion times that I don't want to go after? So it just kind of gets the creative juices flowing a little bit now while you're at home. That way, when you're on location, you're just that much more prepared. Now, the second thing I do is always jump over to Google Earth. And if you've never used Google Earth before, definitely take about 10, 15 minutes and just go check it out. You can spend a lot of time just snooping around anywhere in the world and you see just amazing detail of pretty much any place, anywhere. So it's pretty cool. It's very easy to use. Let's come up here to the magnifying glass. Let's type in Delicate Arch, Utah. There it is. This is my favorite part. Although it kind of gives you a little bit of like that vertigo effect as it zooms in. But as you can see here, this shows the entire area. Let's close this little information block, throw it in 3D, and let's zoom in. And as you can see Delicate Arch right there. We can kind of move it around a little bit, zoom in a little bit more. And this is just kind of neat to just kind of move around a little bit. You can and get an idea of the overall surrounding area around my subject here. And like, oh, I can see that there's a giant cliff face here on the back of Delicate Arch. I would have never even known that was there. But you know, once again, just helps you to better understand your overall environment of where your subject is. You know, I don't need any more additional information on Delicate Arch. I know what that looks like. But being able to see the surrounding areas around that will also help you determine a possible composition as well. And what's really cool is if you click this little person icon, you'll see all these little blue dots. And if you click on one of these dots, these are actual photographs that other people have taken from this exact location. And you can kind of move the photograph around and it's like you're literally there right now. And as you can see here, let's just spin this around like somebody's trekking poles and bag. And looks like, and there's Delicate Arch right there. Let this kind of render a little bit. And you can move it all around. I mean, that is, I don't know what it is. I find out this to be insanely cool and wildly useful. You know, once again, this just helps you to kind of pre-visualize where you're going. And I can already see these like swooping lines here. That might be something neat to use for a composition too, just to kind of draw the viewer's eye up and around to the overall, you know, to the main subject here, which is Delicate Arch. Maybe set my tripod up down low here, but nevertheless, this is really cool just to kind of look at the entire area, just to kind of get a you know, kind of pre-visualize what you can expect from a compositional perspective as well. And then the third component here is the light. And of course, you know, light is by far the most important aspect of photography. And without light, your image, most of the time, it just isn't going to work, or it's going to fall flat. And there's a lot of different apps you can use for this to determine, you know, of course, when the sun's rising or when the sun's setting. That kind of information is easy to find out. But where it's going to rise or where the sun's going to set in relation to your actual subject, that's the powerful information that you want to get. And let me start my screen recording here. There's a lot of different apps that do this. There's the Photographer's Empress. There is the Photo Pills. I use both of those. And those are great for it as well. But the app that I use, if I'm just looking to find out exactly where the sun rises and sets in relation to my subject, is an app called LightTrac. I can't recall if this is a paid app or if it's not, but I'll find out and I'll put it in the description below. But it's simple to use. You just go to the magnifying glass. I already have Delicate Arch Moab typed in here. You hit search and you can see Delicate Arch right there. Put the dot right on there. And you can move this slider, and the yellow indicates the sunrise, and the blue indicates when the sun is actually setting. And this shows you where it's going to be coming from. And there's also a little calendar here, and you can pick the date that you're going to be there. And it'll tell you exactly where you can expect the sun to rise. And it looks like it's going to be coming in right there. So if I'm looking at Delicate Arch, it looks like it's coming in on the left side. So that information is extremely useful to help me, let me turn the screen recording off, to help me to determine exactly where I need to set up my composition, you know, because maybe I don't want to be shooting directly into the rising sun, or maybe I do. But whatever it is, knowing exactly where I can expect the sun to rise is very, very important, because the last thing you want is the sun to start to rise and it's not where you expected it. And now you're having to reshuffle your entire setup somewhere else to make that adjustment. So you want to be ready. You want that sun rising or sitting exactly where you predicted it would. Now, the final app that I use is really, it's for the weather. And I'm not talking about weather like, is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? Is it going to be sunny? That kind of stuff is common sense. We all know that we should check those kinds of things. But what I'm talking about is clouds. So in order for a sunset to have that explosive quality, or a sunrise to have that, the deep colors, the purples, the reds, the burning oranges, the fiery, explosive, burning sunset or sunrise, you need high clouds. High clouds, those are the clouds that catch that light. Low clouds, those are the clouds that usually snuff out a sunset or sunrise, especially if the low cloud bank is on the horizon. So what you want to look for is higher clouds. And the app that I use for that is something called Clear Outside. Let me pull it up here. And once again, very simple app. You just go to your locations. I already have Moab saved. You hit Moab. And once you get within about 5 days of your actual shoot, this has a 5-day forecast on it. You can see the predicted cloud cover. And what you want to look at is the sunlight up here indicated in yellow. And once it gets to orange, that's going to be the time frame when the sun is actually going to be setting. And as you can see here, it's got high clouds at 93, medium at 31, and low clouds at 1 for a total cloud cover of 94. And basically what's this telling us is, more than likely there's a good opportunity there's going to be a pretty good sunset in Moab tonight. Now, if you see low clouds at 100, you might not want to go to the location that day, because ultimately, let me just turn the screen recording off. Ultimately, what that's going to mean is that you're not going to have much of a sunset at all, or sunrise. So you might just want to pick a different location, or not a different location. You might want to pick a different time to go to that location, because more than likely you're not going to get the light that you need for your actual shot. So those are the my four tips that are 4 steps that I use in my planning or in my preparing process for a trip. And I know what I do might not work for somebody else, but it's definitely worked for me in the past. I wanted to share that with you as well. So I hope you were able to get some useful information out of that. And now, as far as the bag giveaway goes, so if you didn't get to see that video from 2 weeks ago, I'll link it above here so you can take a look at that. But here is the bag here. The comments that I got on that video were just absolutely amazing, completely off the charts. And if you took the time to leave a comment on that video, I can't thank you enough. It really, really meant a lot to myself and my family. We all read them all. I commented and responded to every one of them. And I just wanted to take the time to thank you all for that. It really means a lot that so many of you have the confidence that you do have in me to basically be able to fulfill my dream of becoming a professional and full-time landscape photographer, and that be my full-time career. So thank you very much for that. It really means a lot. And for the bag giveaway, when I did this, I was saying to myself, if there was maybe 50 entries for the bag, that would be a win in my mind. But there was actually well over 200, and I couldn't believe it. And the comments were fantastic. And let me just pull it up here. And let's see here. And the winner of the bag is Wendy Heath. So Wendy, if you see this, definitely get in touch with me. Shoot me a message. Usually the best way to do it is on Instagram or Twitter, and get connected with me, and then send me your address, and I will get this pack sent out to you. So I'll definitely do another bag giveaway. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that, so stay tuned for that. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you got something out of the planning, preparing component of it. If you have any questions, of course, just leave them in the comments below. And I guarantee I'll get back to you. And I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye.